Wednesday, August 6. Marching Forward by Faith. Read Exodus chapter 14, verses 13 to 31. Despite their lack of faith, what did God do for the children of Israel? Well, let's start at verse 13 of Exodus chapter 14. And Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall see again no more forever. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." And the Lord said to Moses, "Why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward. But lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I indeed will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. So I will gain honour over Pharaoh and over all his army, his chariots, and his horsemen. Then the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gained honour for myself over Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen." And the angel of God, who went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from before them and stood behind them. So it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. This was a cloud and darkness to the one, and it gave light by night to the other, so that the one did not come near the other all that night. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. So the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on the dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. Now it came to pass in the morning watch that the Lord looked down upon the army of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and cloud, and he troubled the army of the Egyptians. And he took off their chariot wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Egyptians said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, that the waters may come back upon the Egyptians, on their chariots and on their horsemen." And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and, when the morning appeared, the sea returned to its full depth, while the Egyptians were fleeing into it. So the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. Then the waters returned and covered the chariots and horsemen and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. Not so much as one of them remained. But the children of Israel had walked on dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. So the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Thus Israel saw the great work which the Lord had done in Egypt, so the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. Because Moses wholeheartedly trusted God and his word, he encouraged the people. He presented 4 crucial points on how to act in difficult situations. 1. It comes from verse 13 of chapter 14, "Do not be afraid." The first appeal is to trust the Lord, because only in this way can fear be overcome. Isaiah reminds us of this truth by stating that believers are in God's hands, and he will act for them when they accept him as their God and Lord. So, as it says in verse 10 and verse 13, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, 'Do not fear, I will help you.'" And the second one, "Stand firm still," from the same verse of Exodus 14, verse 13. To stand still does not mean only to stop murmuring and to expect great things, but also to trust God and to wait patiently for his mighty intervention, because he will act. And the third one, from the same verse again, you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. For our faith to grow, it is important to recognize God's leadership and help and be grateful for his promised assistance. To see means to open one's eyes because disbelief is blind. Only God can provide victory, safety, and salvation. God is always for us, caring and providing what is needed at the appropriate time. And the fourth comes from the next verse, Exodus 14, verse 14, "The Lord will fight for you." This indicates what God will do. He will personally fight for his people. Calvary is the ultimate proof of this reality, for on the cross, Christ defeated Satan in order to give us eternal life. As we read in John 5:24, "Most assuredly I say to you, he who hears my word and believes in him who sent me has everlasting life, and shall not come into judgment, but has passed from death into life." And Hebrews 2:14, "Inasmuch then as the children have partaken of flesh and blood, he himself likewise shared in the same, that through death he might destroy him who had the power of death, that is, the devil." And Revelation chapter 12, verses 10 and 11. "Then I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brethren, who accused them before our God day and night, has been cast down. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives to the death." Later, even the Egyptians recognized that the Lord was fighting for the Israelites, as we read in Exodus 14:25. "And he took off their chariot wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians." God's command to Moses was clear: move on. God unfolded his action plan step by step. 1. The angel of God in the pillar of cloud moved from the front of Israel's camp and stood behind them, protecting them from the Egyptian army. 2. By faith Moses had to stretch out his hand over the sea. 3. The Lord divided the water and dried it up with a strong wind. And 4. The result was that the Israelites went securely through the sea on dry ground to the other side. The Egyptians blindly pursued them because they did not see that God was doing extraordinary things for his people. That is, they didn't see until it was too late, as their confession in Exodus 14:25 revealed. And that expression is, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians."
Wednesday, August 6. Marching forward by faith. And the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided, and the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea. Exodus chapter 14, verses 21 and 22. Go forward was the word given by Moses, and it was echoed by the captains of the different divisions. In obedience, the host of Israel stepped into the path so strangely and so wonderfully prepared for them. The light from God's pillar of fire shone upon the foam-capped billows and lighted the road that was cut like a mighty furrow through the waters of the sea. As the cloud moved slowly on, the Egyptian sentinels discovered that the Israelites had moved their encampment, and at once the mighty army was set in readiness for motion. They heard the sound of the marching of the Hebrews, but they could see nothing, for the cloud that gave light to Israel was to the Egyptians a wall of darkness. Guided by the sound, they followed on into the miraculous path God had prepared for his people. All night they followed, but they moved slowly, for their chariots drove heavily. Yet still they moved on, expecting soon to break through the cloud and overtake the fugitives. At last, the shadows of the night passed away, the morning dawned, and the pursuing army was almost within reach of the fleeing Hebrews. Before their astonished eyes, the mysterious cloud changed to a pillar of fire reaching from earth to heaven. The thunders pealed and the lightnings flashed. The clouds poured out water, the skies sent out a sound. Thine arrows also went abroad. The voice of thy thunder was in the heaven, the lightnings lightened the world. The earth trembled and shook. The Egyptians were seized with confusion and dismay. Amid the wrath of the elements, in which they heard the voice of an angry God, they endeavored to retrace their steps and to flee to the shore they had quitted. But Moses stretched out his rod, and the piled-up waters, hissing, roaring, and eager for their prey, rushed together and swallowed the Egyptian army in their black depths. As morning broke, it revealed to the multitudes of Israel all that remained of their mighty foe, the mail-clad bodies cast upon the shore. From the most terrible peril, one night had brought deliverance. Jehovah alone had brought them deliverance, and to him their hearts were turned in gratitude and faith. Their emotions found utterance in songs of praise. Christ Triumphant, page 105.
And remember, God is always faithful.